Hi, everyone. Bad news. The worst news. The most horrible news in the world. Actually, that's not true. The good news is I made it through this episode. The bad news is I lost my footage. What ended up happening, I'll just go into it very, very briefly, is the technical details of it is that when I recorded UHC, this season went pretty long. It lasted a really long time, and so my computer filled up a decent amount. Now, I decided that I would, instead of editing each episode as they were coming out, I decided that I would export all of my videos, upload them all, schedule them all out so that I didn't have to worry about doing that because UHC has a set schedule every other day. So I thought, you know what, I can just schedule all my videos right now and do a big marathon exporting session. So I started doing that, but what happened was as you're exporting them, each video itself is about maybe 15 gigs, which is a lot for, but it's a Mac and that's how big they are. And then when you export them into the actual video files, they're about 3 gigs. And so when I started doing that, episodes 1 through 9, I'm adding more and more to my computer each time I'm saving, and the hard drive filled up. And when that happens, it starts to get kind of slow, and I realized that I needed to restart the program and possibly restart my entire computer. And that was fine because I was down to the last couple of episodes. I'm not going to give away how many episodes there are left, but I was down to the last few, and I was chopping them up. Because towards the end, and that's the other thing, this really does fall on me a little bit because I was so terrible this season about ending the episodes at the right time. And so I do have to blame that a little bit for this because without that, every episode would have been its own document, but instead I was doing a lot of copying and pasting footage into the next episode and then cutting it and pasting that footage that remained into the next episode and splicing them all together, and that definitely added to the confusion with all of the files. But what ended up happening was 100% not my fault. So I was splitting up the last several episodes, and my computer just got very, very slow, and I realized that I needed to delete some things, but it wasn't letting me delete things. And so I realized, okay, I'm going to need to restart my computer, and to do that, I'm probably going to need to restart this program, which will be fine because, there's not a lot of heavy editing involved in UHC, so I'll just close the program and then reopen the original document that had the last couple of episodes in that I just kept recording on, and then I'll just splice them up again. So I closed the program. It's called ScreenFlow for Mac, and I usually have no problems with it. I closed the program, and then I thought, you know what, I'm going to reopen the program now and just see if everything's there. And when I tried to reopen the document that was on my desktop, it said that the application couldn't be found, which was very, very strange for it to say that, because you would think it would say the document couldn't be found, but it said the application couldn't be found. So at that point, I started to panic a little bit. I restarted my computer, and when I reloaded my computer and the desktop came up, the last document just simply wasn't there. And that had the last several episodes of UHC. I won't say how many. You will find out soon enough. But the document was gone completely, and I called ScreenFlow and I called Apple, and I went through all of my recovered files. Trust me, guys, I did everything that I could possibly think of. I downloaded programs that help you search nooks and crannies of your computer. The only thing that I could have done was to enable Time Machine on Mac, which is something I haven't done just because I don't have an external hard drive as big as my hard drive that's on my computer, and the amount of videos that I record and then delete and then record, it would just really slow things down if it was backing up everything. But anyway, there's really no explanation for why this happened. I was able to recover the files and bring them up in my editing software. I could see them. I could see the clips perfectly with the audio. And when you went to play it or export it, it simply just said, we can't find this. So I really did try everything. I'm very, very sorry. But the good news is I lived. I lived in this episode. I didn't really do a whole lot. Excuse me. I guess I want to talk really briefly about the season in general, just because I'm not going to get an opportunity to do that on my final episode now. So the thing that happened with this season that I think is definitely a hiccup is that it wasn't permaday after a certain amount of time. And so it got to a point where I wanted to go to 0-0. I was ready to go to 0-0, but I'm not going to take a chance and go at night. Yes, I would probably be fine at night. I've logged a lot of hours practicing for UHC, but there are things that you can't avoid. You know, there are skeletons that will pop up while you're crossing some water and will shoot you and take half a heart or take a full heart. And in a situation like UHC where every heart matters, that's just a risk I'm not willing to take. I'm not going to cave for 9 episodes or work on gathering, preparation for a battle for 9 episodes and then just casually stroll through the night. You saw I spent a lot of time on the surface this season, actually. I had to deal with spiders and skeletons and creepers and even a chicken jockey. So this definitely wasn't a case of me hiding from mobs and hiding from the fight at 0-0. I wanted to get there, just not in a careless way. And so that the fact that we had to wait for night kind of slowed things down. And also the Mumble plugin kind of, made me want to talk a little quieter and not talk at some point. So I apologize if the season felt a little dull. I'm hoping that it felt very suspenseful. But in general, though, I was a little disappointed in my caving experience because I practiced so hard for this, and there were times where I was practicing and I encountered so many mobs that by the time I got ready to have an enchanting table, I would have almost 20 levels. And so I would be able to combine swords and I would be able to get a power 2 bow. And I just really didn't find that many mobs, except for that cave spider, which I still fully support my decision to just book it out of there. I don't think that the spider that I heard later in the ravine was a cave spider. I think it was probably a normal spider. But still, there have just been too many times where I've been hit by a cave spider, and then your whole season is wrecked. You've got to find, enough gold for 2 or 3 apples, and then, hopefully you heal up to like 6 hearts before you go into a battle, and that's just not what you want to do. So I support that. The only thing that I messed up is that I really should have just figured out a way to stay and get at least 2 more string, but really 6 string from the mine shaft. I just got too spooked and I didn't do that, and there were 2 string right there, and that definitely bogged me down in the future, having to kill spiders on the surface for a bow. That was a huge mistake. But I got the bow, and I'm so upset that this footage was deleted, because at the very end of this episode, I get to 0-0 and I see Mr. Mitch and he doesn't see me, and I pull the bow back on him, and that's where my episode faded to black. It was so good. It was so suspenseful and exciting and such a cliffhanger. Go over to Mr. Mitch's channel. I'll put it in the description below. And you'll be able to see if I make a cameo. I don't know if you can see me in the distance or if he heard me on Mumble, but I tried to kind of sneak up on him. And then just watch Mr. Mitch's channel next week, in 2 days. Watch Mr. Mitch's channel, and also watch Grape Applesauce's channel, because he was also in the mix in 0-0. To see how it plays out, and to see the rest of my episodes. Anyway, that I think is going to do it for this. I'm going to put music at the end of this. I do that because I want the total length of the video to be 20 minutes long, so that no one is confused when I upload it and thinks that I died. I didn't die this time. Yay! But again, I'm really, really sorry. I feel horrible. I spent hours trying to recover this footage, and it just wasn't possible. And so I do want to really apologize to all of you guys who were excited to see it. But anyway, that's that's just one of those things that you have to just sort of take on the chin and deal with and move on, and it happens. Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Your support means the world to me, and I will see you later. Paige and Molly love you. Bye.